Welcome to this, your daily briefing. Personal terms agreed, people are screaming. I remain immensely sceptical, as you can imagine. But CalcioAtalanta believe that Tottenham Hotspur are very close to getting some transfer business done at long last. And in particular, the name in the frame is Pierluigi Gollini. Gollini is no stranger to these shores, and he spent 2 years with the Manchester United Academy, and then was involved in 20 championship appearances for Aston Villa in the season they got relegated, which I think from memory is 2016-2017. I've got a whole load of stats here, and I'm actually just not going to read them out to you, because the real problem you have is when you say, oh, the player was here and he did this or he didn't do that or whatever, is that you're absolutely comparing apples with oranges. Different club, different league, different team, a whole different gang of players in front of him. There's no point in Tottenham buying a whiz of a goalkeeper and then not having a polished defence to put in front of him. Eric Dyer, I'm looking at you. Davinson Sanchez, I'm definitely looking at you. And with the idea that Toby is almost certainly off-ski, we're going to need somebody pretty good, or, something needs attention. You can't go around using, sticking plasters forever, because, they tend to curl at the edges and come off. So his stats with Y-Scout are not bad. He's a decent shot stopper in the respect of he's the 10th best when it comes to not conceding goals in Serie A, and he's a decent enough keeper. I have I have put up a couple of clips from his last game of the season where he conceded, or didn't concede, he had 2 penalties scored against him. That's a really unfair kind of yardstick to use with goalkeepers, but he didn't look great. But he's better than those clips. I'm sure of it because of the stuff that I referred to previously. CalcioAtalanta also believe that Takehiro. Now, I sent some poor chap into an absolute spin yesterday by my nasty, unwoke, hurty words of referring to him as the Japanese chap. No offence intended, he's Japanese. You can't, you don't say to somebody, pass me that blue cushion. Oh, why did you have to refer to it by... Yeah, so just, please, people, get over yourselves, will you? So Takehiro, the report tells us nothing new, and Bologna are still waiting for Spurs to hit the €20 million mark. We've got the business with the homegrown players, and I have to say I've lifted this in part from Coy's Reddit, which is a mixed bag, but this is a good bit because hopefully it clears things up. It is a complicated thing, so please, if you come away from this little brief thing and think, well, I didn't learn anything from that, it's not my delivery, it's just that I'm trying to make it as simplified as possible. And if these two are coming in and we've got Toby going and maybe one other, it's about keeping the books balanced. I'm no Levy apologist, but Spurs can't just go out and do this, that and the other. But what this reflects back to is my fundamental concern that we should be in a position where we are selling, and we appear to be having all of these sort of tentative talks. And as we discussed the other day, Spurs are interested, Spurs are pursuing, Spurs are monitoring. I think we're all tremendously tired of this language. And behind that, there is this business that Tottenham need to keep their homegrown contingent and their numbers right. However, that doesn't include players under the age of 21. So the players that we've got that could be marked to be sold in theory, would be Davies, Doherty, Hart, Roden, Whiteman, Carter Vickers, Delhi, Kane, Winks. I can see Carter Vickers being loaned or sold, but right now I'm struggling to see a name on there that's going to create much room for movement. So the chap says here, bottom line is that we'll be starting the summer with 15 foreign players and 8 homegrown, meaning we have room to sign 2 players of any status before we start considering players likely to be sold. So there's 2 players of any status, the Japanese chap and the Italian chap. And the other dynamic is that the European Conference League, it depends how seriously Tottenham are going to take it. The standard is going to be low. That's not my opinion. That's my I think that's the considered view of everybody in world football. It's It's Europe's third tier. So we're not going to be needing to play, if he's still here, Harry Kane and Sonny and co. This is very much an opportunity to blood the youth, and without wishing anybody ill or harm, it would be, I think, an excellent opportunity for those advocates of some of our youngsters to bring them through. I'm totally suspicious, hesitant, call it what you will, of throwing those guys into the Premier League. It's a very different, very much more intense environment. Whereas this third tier of European football might just be useful. It'll be down to Nuno to work out who is rounded sufficiently as a character. He's already mentioned this business of being a human being, but it could be the tournament for using the old football trope about, blooding some of the kids. So I don't know. It's certainly what I would do, and it would certainly give the club a little bit more scope for in respect of the who's homegrown and who ain't. Because if the thing is capped at 21, that gives you more room for manoeuvre. Couple of tidbits from the old transfer drivel bucket. The Athletic, quick. We need 3,500 words by 7 o'clock. Chelsea are interested in signing Harry Kane, but understand the intense local rivalry with Tottenham makes an agreement for the England captain unlikely. This is great stuff, isn't it? I mean, absolutely cutting edge. But remember, it's only £1. This, I don't even know how to greet this. I mention it purely hoping that somewhere along the line it trickles back and this guy gets embarrassed into thinking more before he makes pronouncements. This is Darren Ambrose of TalkSport talking about Harry Kane. He's Tottenham's main man and idolised by supporters. I think he'll tarnish any reputation and anything he brings to Tottenham by doing this. He's the England captain as well. I honestly can't see him not turning up. And that's in respect of the suggestions made that he might down tools. I think this is hysterical. I keep saying to you, they've abolished slavery, which is a good thing. So this business of you've got a contract doesn't stack up. And like I said, Gareth Bale down tools, or it's my ankle, and all the other stuff that went on before he left, and I didn't see people being outraged or shunning him for the rest of his professional career. And then this doesn't look good, but I mean, for goodness sakes, if you're going to do a deal, get on with it. Lyon want around 26 million for Joachim Andersen, who has heard of potential Tottenham interest, but may now find they will need to look elsewhere. That comes from Alan Nixon at Reluctant Nico, who I've mentioned to you before, is top drawer, not a time waster and an actual journalist. Joachim Andersen, that was being mooted end of last season. That was when Mourinho was still around. We need to, if you're on the pot, do your business and move on. Otherwise, you'll have the attendant knocking on the stall door. And Spurs are guilty of doing this. I'm surprised that nobody else has come in for Takehiro in the interim. I had another look at him the other day, and I'm not falling in love him, emotionally over investing in a stranger, but he seems like good stuff, and he might well be tough enough mentally to cope with the move to the Premier League. Right, so that's it for today. We've got another friendly coming up. I can't wait for that to be done and out the way, and I want to see us play against the London sides, and perhaps then we can get a little bit more balanced feedback from the pundits, because the longer it goes on, the more ridiculous claims I'm hearing about people who watch the same game I did, but appear to have been absolutely in raptures over some of the performances, which, shall we say, is optimistic at best. Right, so stay in the shade. Can't stress that enough. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.